There's a reason why this Clancy case is so triggering to a lot of us. It is showing us how we were gaslit in our own lives into believing we were the crazy ones. And if it didn't happen to us, it certainly happened to somebody that we know. Now, obviously, the Clancy case is an extreme. Do I believe that Lindsay killed her kids? No, I do not. Do I believe that he had been planting seeds of psychosis in this woman's mind for far longer than we anticipate? Yes, I do. I think that there are men and women out there who have these demonic entities, who have these holes in their soul, and they do purposely manipulate people's reality for control, power, money. Men definitely do this more than women, but women do this too. Women do this for control. Women do this to keep a man. They will manipulate your reality into making you feel like you're the crazy one. And this case has been so triggering. I saw this happen to my mom. I went through this myself. And yes, my cases were not as extreme as Lindsay Clancy's case, obviously, but this happens all the time. This has been happening, quite frankly, on a global level with our religion, our government, our politics. All of that has been gaslighting us into our reality. Media, number one, manipulating us all the time into not knowing what to believe. And we are at a precipice of having an influx of information. And again, I've talked about this before, being able to discern reality versus what is fake. We have been training for this our whole lives. That is why we went through those situations, is so we could learn discernment. We have been taught, especially white people have been taught, to trust the government, trust police, trust teachers, trust authority. And we are watching this play out, that we cannot trust our medical professionals. We cannot trust police. We cannot trust our husbands at times. We cannot trust the people closest to us to keep us safe and keep us grounded in reality. People will constantly try to twist your reality for control, power, money. It's an emotional energy siphoning. And I did witness this my whole life growing up. My dad did this to my mom, where he would beat my mom to a pulp and then call the police and get her arrested in front of all of his children. My dad also called the police on my stepmom in front of me. He was constantly planting seeds that he was the victim and that everybody else was the problem. He told my mom, if you go to rehab, that will help you look good in court, but then in court used that against her. The reason why my mom had to go to rehab in the first place is because my dad was so abusive and manipulative that her nervous system was shot down. She developed fibromyalgia. She was in an immense amount of pain and started abusing pills. When mixed with alcohol at my dad's work functions, where he would parade her around like the trophy wife when he wasn't treating her that way, she obviously was not well. My mother lived her life loving my dad, with my dad not giving two F's about my mom, always blaming my mom and making her out to be the bad guy. Now, don't get me wrong. My mom had her own issues. I was blessed with two highly dysfunctional parents. Lucky me. You know, watching this trial play out, it's kind of validating. While I have always known the truth of the situation, it's hard to put into words when you have had these experiences. My father twisted the legal and judicial system against my mom on purpose. He would have my grandfather come over and record my mom picking us up or dropping us off. Everything was calculated with my dad. And that's what happens in these relationships. These people are calculated. They are sucking you dry energetically and affecting your nervous system. And even when they're not blatantly doing something, even when you cannot say, okay, they said this offhanded comment, or like, I know that they're doing something, it is an energetic thing. Energetic abuse is a real thing, where these people are manipulating your reality. They're purposely twisting things and saying things. My dad was very good at getting counselors and everybody on his side, making him look like he was the glowing father who took care of these three kids on his own while the mom didn't participate and she abandoned her kids. And while yes, there is some truth to that, that's not the full story. He made it impossible for my mom to live close to us. Every time she tried, she would get her retirement money. He would find a way to attack her in the legal systems. My dad did this for years and years and years and years. My dad was the one who kept my mom away, told us and manipulated us that it was her. She left us, she was the crazy one, she was the alcoholic and all of this, when that wasn't the full story. The full story was he was a manipulative man who was twisting her reality, twisting the reality of all of the people around him to make himself look like the victim and the hero, because quite frankly, he never felt good about himself. And that is who these men are. These men never felt truly loved as kids, and I'm going to generalize that as men now. I have said before, it's not just men, women do this too. So these people never truly felt loved as a kid, and their parents may have overcompensated by making them the golden child, but that emotional and real connection wasn't there. The child often was the parent, the emotional support to the parent, and the parent was more of the child. So these people come out of two scenarios. They either were neglected and didn't feel loved, didn't have that emotional connection, or they were the emotional support parent for their parent. And when that happens, everything is switched inside of you. The energy is switched inside of you. Again, you have two routes to take. You either become the empath who's the people pleaser and would do anything to make sure that nobody else ever feels the way you did, or you start manipulating situations to make sure you always come out on top. And we are seeing in real time, those people who manipulated situations to always come out on top are falling. They need to fall. That energetic, that karmic loop of allowing people to manipulate our realities, affect our nervous system, and make us feel like we're the crazy ones, when they are just twisting and manipulating and lying, cheating, stealing, all of that has to stop. This case is making us all aware of how prevalent this is, and how men and women too, but can twist stories and play the victim, do it again within the medical system, within the judicial system, with police, within the government, politics, religion, all of that. They do that within their community. These people are very charming outside of their home. They walk around helping people. They come across like they are the hero. But at home, they are explosive, they are manipulative, they are liars, and they will do anything to protect themselves. And these people with money, if they are sociopathic, like Sir Clancy, they will do anything to not have to give up that money. And they will do anything to not have to look like the bad guy. This case is cracking open, wide open, what we have been talking about for years. This is real. And while I hope most of us have not experienced it on this level, when you are made to feel like the crazy one, when you are made to feel like your reality is not real, it is incredibly difficult to function in society, and you become very disconnected from yourself and your life. And that is what was happening to Lindsay. When we hear them read her journal entries out loud, this was a woman who desperately wanted to be a good mom. She wanted to give her third child everything she gave her first. She was feeling incredibly disconnected. And whether that was from postpartum or from whatever the F this guy was doing to her, that was very real for her, how disconnected she was. And I resonate with that. You know, I could read my journal entries from when I was married and just feeling like I just want to be connected to my kids and my dog. And I remember one time even reading, like, I didn't even write my spouse, because at some point it no longer became about that person. It was about myself and my kids and my dogs and just life. I was not here for it because of what I was going through, because of the manipulation and just the absolute fuckery that I had been living with my whole life, from my parents to then my husband. And yes, mine was not extreme Got a frog in my throat. It's like somebody doesn't want me to talk about this. It's like, yes, my experience might not have been as extreme, obviously, as Lindsay Clancy's, but I was constantly made to feel like I was the crazy one. Like I had no right to react to people mistreating me, abusing me, neglecting me, when I had every right to speak on that, when I had every right to speak on my truth. And what happens in these situations is these people will poke and poke and poke and poke at you until you react. And then they will look at your reaction and be like, see, you're crazy. But you're not the crazy one. You're just reacting to them pushing you, to them purposely trying to get you to respond to them. They thrive off your emotional reaction. That's how they survive. That's how these energy vampires thrive. So Patrick Clancy, having all of these people pour love into him, send him money in his GoFundMe, all of that was feeding his very non-existent ego. And he was living his best life. He went to Costa Rica within weeks to run a marathon with his new wife. He got married 4 months later. Like, that alone is mentally insane. That alone is mentally insane. He was feeding off of the energy of everybody pouring into him. This was calculated by him. This was systematic. And I don't believe that all covert narcissists are as calculated as this guy was, but they are calculated. And the things that they Google, it's strange. You will find themes. Him Googling how to disable the airbags at her make and model of car is not that shocking. Anybody who's gone through this abuse knows. They've come across a Google search that has been like, it's a little weird. Why would you Google that? This is a wake-up call for all of us to no longer allow outside influences to influence our reality. And sometimes you're going to be the one gaslighting yourself and your reality, especially after you've gone through this level of abuse. If you have gone through this level of abuse from childhood into romantic partners, friendships, what have you, knowing your own reality and being grounded in your truth can be incredibly difficult. And healing that part of you, even if you've separated from that person and even if it's been years, your parents' voice in particular is what conditions your inner voice. So if your parents were constantly telling you you're the crazy one, you're angry, you're this, you're that, guess what? You will gaslight your reality until you completely rewrite the program and ground yourself into what you know is true in your soul. And this is not about you rewriting reality and you reprogramming the whole story. This is about you being honest and truthful to what happened to you, how it made you feel, and where it all was coming from. Everything is energy. So if you are sleeping next to somebody who would rather have you and your children dead so they can go off and be with this new woman who just so happens to look exactly like you, I wonder what that would do for your spirit. I wonder how you would feel being next to somebody, sleeping with somebody, potentially sleeping next to somebody. I wonder how you would feel being in a space with somebody who wanted you dead. Probably not good, right? Everything is energy and energy is transferable. And men are warlocks too. Men do magic too. Some of them don't even know that they're doing it, but that is what they are doing. It is an energy transfer. That's what's happening. And when you're not aware that that's what's happening, you will take on all of that negative energy about yourself that is coming from this other person, whether intentionally or not, and you will own it as your own. There's a reason why Lindsay felt better when she was not in the care of Patrick. There's a reason for that. There's a reason why I felt exceptionally better getting out of the care of my family and my previous partner. There's a reason. And, you know, I struggle coming on here, especially talking about my ex and things like that, because I'm not trying to shame him, especially if people know me personally. Him and I have somewhat of a good relationship right now, but I am well aware of how manipulative he really was in our relationship. And I'm well aware of how much he honestly hated me the entire time we were together. And, you know, I was talking to a girlfriend one time and she said, I don't like talking about my abuse because I don't want people to think that I'm a weak ass, you know what. And she didn't say weak, she said something else, but a weak ass, you know what. And there's truth to that. I don't always want to talk about the stuff that happened to me because I don't want people to pity me. I definitely fought my way through, and I will not only blame him. There were so many times I knew to leave and I didn't. I was codependent on that relationship because I honestly felt like nobody had really loved me in my life and nobody had stayed. And he did stay through my bullshit too. So there was a loyalty that I had to him because of that. And it was due to a lack of self-worth that stemmed from how my parents treated me and, quite frankly, how he treated me. And he did treat me like that on purpose to keep my self-esteem low because he thought that that's what would keep me there with him forever. Ironically, that's what made me leave, you know? And it's like the prophecy can work against you at times. And I really hope the prophecy works against Mr. Clancy. I know this was long, super personal. I know I have been called to share a lot of this for a very long time, and I have not wanted to. People have tried to choke me so I don't share my story. I don't share what I witnessed with my dad and my ex. And again, disclaimer, 1000%, my ex was nowhere close to Patrick Clancy. But I will say, after I asked for the separation, a few times he had asked me to go to his brother's mountain house, which is in the middle of nowhere. And I just got that feeling like, under zero circumstances am I going to go to the middle of the woods with the man that I actively am trying to divorce. I don't want to die this weekend. And I'm not saying he would have done anything, but I think as humans, we have seen enough that we have to have discernment. And when somebody is actively sending you negative energy, when somebody is actively trying to destiny swap with you or send evil eye your way or manipulate your reality or make you feel in any kind of way that you are always the bad guy, those are the people that you run from. You run from. And trauma bonding is when you want love and care from the people that hurt you. Those are the people that you walk away from. Thank you for the lesson in self-love. Thank you for the lesson in boundaries. Thank you for the lesson in discernment. But deuces. This is not the life for me. You have to be the one to change those karmic cycles. Right now, with all of the planets happening, we are being screamed at from the rooftop. Change the cycles. Change them now. We need it now more than ever. True love really can change the planet. I don't care how cheesy that sounds. It's just a fact. These entities, these demons, they want to keep you stuck in this lower vibe cycle, feeling like you belong in a relationship that makes you feel like shit. And you don't. I don't care if it's family or friends or a partner you've been with for 25 years. If they are consistently making you feel like shit, purposely or not, remove yourself. If you need a period of separation, do that. Work on yourself. But you cannot even begin to be the person you are meant to be when you are constantly feeling anxious, when you are constantly feeling stressed, when you are constantly feeling sick, when you are constantly feeling like something is wrong with you. You have to get to a ground zero point of knowing who you are, what is true for you, and who you are without all of that external noise, without everybody else telling you who you are, without everybody else purposely pushing your buttons to get an emotional response. Listen to your body. Your body is screaming at you. Your body is screaming at you. There's a reason why Patrick Clancy's daughter kept having UTIs, whether he was doing something else to her or she was just picking up on the energy in the house. Everything in that house was screaming, this is not working. And I specifically told my ex that. The alarms are sounding. The saxophones are getting louder. This is not working. This is not a healthy environment. At some point, someone or something has to change. It's not going to be you. It's going to be me. So something has to change. We are at the precipice, and we have been at this precipice for a very, very long time, where something has to change. We can no longer allow our realities to be skewed by the media, by the government, by these narcissistic entities that don't want you to love and care and enjoy your life. Why would God make life so beautiful for all of us just to be here and suffer? It's like, oh, look, the ocean's pretty, the mountains are beautiful, sunsets are gorgeous, but this sucks. I don't think so. I don't think that that's what this is about. He made it beautiful for us to enjoy. And yes, we will go through hard things for our souls to learn these lessons. And sometimes our lessons are public. So everybody can say, oh, my experience now makes more sense. I understand what I went through. And unfortunately, Clancy is being used in a very public way to show everybody this is what has been happening behind closed doors. And it is very hard to detect with some people. So if you have ever been through something like this, know that I am with you. You can recover from narcissistic abuse. You can recover from this level of trauma and gaslighting, and you can ground yourself in a reality that was written by you. You no longer have to be a victim of circumstance. You are allowed to grow and blossom. And I pray, I truly, truly pray for Lindsay and just healing entirely, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, in every way possible. I pray that the truth comes out in whatever way. I truly do. I pray that we all can recognize the signs of narcissistic abuse, because these people can be far more dangerous than one could ever think. Maybe this will ruffle some feathers, and it is what it is. It's just my truth. And living through this has been the hardest experience of my life. And learning to trust people again has been the hardest experience of my life. And I'm definitely still not there yet, so it's hard. Going through this level of abuse, I think, is worse than physical abuse. The way that it fucks with your mind, and your mind is your instrument to heaven. There's a reason why they attack your mind. There's a reason why they attack your emotions. There's a reason why they attack your spirituality. That's where heaven lies. So release the shackles of your past and know that all of what you've gone through was to turn it into purpose. I know that everything I went through was to help other people who were going through the same thing come back to the divinity of themselves. And for those that have done the manipulation, for you to come back into your own shame and stop projecting that shame and that guilt onto everybody around you. It is time for you to sit in the shame and the guilt. And once you do that and you have your reckoning and you repent, you can get there too. You can. Maybe not the murderers of babies and pedophiles. You probably can't. But the rest of you, I have hope that if you sit with the shame and the guilt of what you've done to other people purposely to feed your own ego, and you repent, that you can get to the other side too. It is worth it. And like I said, it is time. It is time. Do the work. Open your eyeballs.